right here. Okay, I'm gonna get shaking. Tonight I'm gonna be working on my hips. For shaking, by the way, feet parallel, knees slightly bent. That's just a starting point, and then just bounce in place. Notice I'm mostly keeping my heels on the ground. This is sufficient for shaking. I'll talk more about the stretching in a second, but first shaking. This is a really good practice. It gives you the same effect as sitting meditation, except it affects the whole body. Another thing you can do is extend your exhale by humming, and that combination is going to really loosen your body. So I'm going to do that, and then afterwards I'll talk a little bit about why I'm doing that. But it's really simple. Just bounce in place. You can hold your arms in any number of ways. If you want to work on the middle or deep front line, middle of your body, keep your big toes and your heels connected to the ground while you bounce. And then I'm going to hum. So I'm going to inhale into my nose. I'm going to hum, and then I'm going to make sure to inhale back in my nose. The inhaling in the nose after the hum is important because the nitric oxide that humming produces in your navel cavity is really good for you for a number of reasons, and by inhaling into your nose, you're bringing it into your vascular system. So here we go. Humming by itself is really good. Humming while walking is really good for you. Humming while sitting. When you're driving, if you're finding yourself getting really irritated, just sort of hum while you drive, and you're going to calm yourself down. It tends to be parasympathetic dominant, so it's going to tone your vagal system, which is going to lower your nervous system floor over weeks and months. It's not going to happen immediately, but over time, it's going to generally loosen yourself across the body. It's going to vibrate your head and your face, which is going to loosen your sinuses and so on. And by the way, your sinuses are filled with mucus. Mucus is non-Newtonian. It gets compacted and tight. Humming loosens it. So clearing your sinuses via humming is a good way to clear your sinuses. So here we go. Hello, chest. Try different vocal ranges, up and down. Try opening your mouth, closing your mouth, lightly touching your teeth. You don't want to clamp down. If you have like a light mouth guard, I often will do this with a light mouth guard. That also helps. So I'm loosening my body. I'm loosening my chest. If I want to get more on my chest, I'll rotate my hands out. That tends to get my shaking more up in the chest, or maybe medial rotation moves it down into my hips. So play around. I can sometimes even, if I want to get my hamstrings, I'll just bend forward a little bit, and that really emphasizes the hamstrings, which I'm going to be doing some stuff tonight where I'm stretching my hamstrings, so this is just going to get them ready to go. So rather than starting a stretch cold, I'm going to start warmed up, and I'm also turning down my nervous system, and a lot about deep flexibility is working with your nervous system. So if you do this 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, I like to do it even longer sometimes, you're going to find a huge difference in terms of how you start a stretch. And if you're worried about slowly over time realigning your collagen and reshaping your body, shaking is a great thing to do. You don't have to do it at all. For 4 years I didn't, now I do. Problem is, I like shaking so much, sometimes I shake more than I stretch. And so I'm going to reduce my shaking to increase the time I spend stretching. It's a give and take. There's no one right way. Figure out what works for you. Now, if you want a better indication than time, when you've been shaking long enough, your collagen gets rigid. That's a normal thing. If you sit for a long time, the pressure on your joints and such causes the collagen to gel up, to get a little more solid. And that's great because that means that your body does not have to spend as much time with muscles to maintain a particular shape. That is, your body gets better at doing whatever it is you're doing because, for example, your collagen gets rigid. That's a feature, not a bug. But if you don't reset, if you sit too long, then eventually what happens is that feature becomes a bug because it starts to limit your motion. And when you limit your motion over time, you start to bend forward, you start to shrink your muscles and so on. So all we're doing is we're just basically at the end of the day, resetting everything so that we can start tomorrow. This is a really good, healthful practice. And you can do it a few minutes here, a few minutes there. When I'm in a meeting, I'll just turn my camera off, I'll stand up, and I'll just do this for a little bit. I won't do the humming, maybe I will. But if I do, I hopefully will remember to turn my mic off. But if you feel heat coming off your chest, the collagen gets from a gel state to a sol or liquid state. The releasing of that tension is in the form of heat in the chest, inside arms, temple. I don't think I'm going to do this long enough tonight to really feel that, but that's okay. Every little bit helps. I may not get full release, but I'm going to get some positive results that are going to feed into every stretch I do tonight. And that's why I'm doing this. But I'm already starting to feel like right now, I can notice that the shaking is going a little bit over my elbow. So I'm starting to get my elbows loose. And if I want to loosen my shoulders, I let my arms dangle. And I'm trying to start this in my feet, by the way. Feet and just sort of bending my knees. You can also, like sometimes I've got some osteoarthritis from damage in my thumb. I might do that. But a lot of people do this to try to shake their body. It's better than not doing it. Start with your feet. Start with your feet. If you can't stand, sit and shake your arms. Shaking is good for you. Now, a couple of counterindications. If you have injury, don't do it. You might find you get a little bit overwhelmed or dizzy. Sit down, 5 breaths a minute, in and out, big belly breaths. But for real, I was one time in the middle of a big thunderstorm, and one of the side effects of lowering your nervous system and loosening your collagen over time, you are more susceptible to barometric pressure changes. So I feel storms in my body more than I used to. And during a particularly large storm with amazing lightning, I was feeling a bit under the weather, if you will, in a literal sense. The weather was pressing down on me and I had a headache and just general, didn't feel good. So I thought, well, why don't I loosen my body up? And so I did this for like 20, 30 minutes. And while I was doing it, I felt great. I got a full release. It's called a Thixotropic release when you turn your collagen from a gel state to a salt state. And it felt great while I was doing it. And as soon as I stopped, the weather just started hammering me. I felt much, much worse. So I do not recommend shaking during thunderstorms because sometimes you want your collagen to be rigid because that rigidity helps your body with a bit of a buffer against barometric pressure changes. So being loose isn't always the right thing. Nothing is ever the right thing all the time. Sometimes you want to be rigid. If I'm sitting for a long time, I don't want to have loose collagen and then use my muscles to keep me shaking. So let's see, I'm going to do a little bit of more rapid shaking here. So I can already feel that I can get a bit of a rapid shake with smaller movements of my legs. So I'm already starting to loosen my body up, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of heat in my face. So back to humming. Okay, now I'm going to mention something here. Once I start loosening up, I get this spot right here in my calf, and I start to notice a little bit of tightness right here. And this is just, you have different layers of fascia, and they loosen at different times. So I'm going to pigeon-toe my feet a little bit, just a little bit, not much, and that will change the direction of the shear And so if I do this for another few minutes, that little knot will go away. It's a consistent thing, it's a structural thing, and it's just, you learn how to deal with it. You may not experience it, great, don't do this. You may try it and not like it, but also I might go ahead and go all the way in, because if I do this, now I've got some, I'm turning my thumbs in, medial, into the middle, medial rotation, and now that I feel this, I'm getting better shaking in my thighs, specifically my hamstrings, and since I'm going to be doing hamstring stretching in a bit, it's going to make me just that much more ready to do that. Okay, I've got more heat in my face. I'm starting to feel a little bit of heat come off my chest. So I'm starting to release better. Now, for me, I get a lot of tightness in my chest. When I have tightness in my chest, that means my sympathetic system is turned up. So what happens is I wake up every hour and a half. Why every hour and a half? Your dream cycles, your sleep cycles tend to be around 90 minutes long. So I get to shallow sleep, my chest is tight, my nervous system hears anything, it's like wakes me up. If I do this, I don't wake up. So I might sleep for 6 hours before waking up as opposed to an hour and a half. So that's the difference. I get much better sleep. But I'm already getting a nice release from doing this. And shaking alone is great. Shaking and humming is just like, it's a double magnifier. Okay, I'm going to adjust my feet back. I think I've got past that spot. Let's see. That's still a little bit, but that's fine. Now you can also try other things. External rotation, play with it. Just don't find, if you have any kind of point or stabby points, adjust. You don't want to feel much of anything. And also, pardon me, the mechanics of this are 5 to 15 hertz frequencies tend to help return your muscle and your body and your various subsystems, your nervous system, back to a homeostatic state of balance. Well, 5 hertz is 300 beats a minute. I'm not bouncing 300 beats a minute. So it's not the macro bouncing of the body that's doing this stuff. It's actually my insides bouncing up and down against each other. I've got muscles, I've got fascia, I've got blood, I've got fat, adipose tissue, bones. Those are all moving at different rates. And so it's the interaction of those systems that is causing the randomness. So in fact, gentle shaking is sufficient. You could absolutely do more, but I'm old, I don't want to hurt my joints. And so slow and steady for me wins the race. Your results may vary. You really have to figure out what works for you. And it might be that shaking isn't for you. And also humming might not be for you. The humming is actually mantra meditation. And the side effect is, for some people, about 5 to 7% of the population, straight mantra meditation can cause anxiety. Now, it doesn't cause me any problem, and I suspect that the combination of shaking along with humming makes it far less likely. I don't know. So you have to try. But if you start to have anxiety, or if you feel even just off, stop, sit, breathe into your stomach, count of 6, exhale to a count of 6. And that is called coherent breathing. 5 breaths a minute is a good balancing breath for most people. If you're above 6.2 feet or so, you have longer lungs. The longer lungs that you want to take even a longer inhale and exhale. So maybe you want to go to 7.5, 8 seconds in and out. And that's because you want to get, by taking a large breath, you're filling up your lungs all the way to the bottom. And there's more blood in the bottom of your lungs when you're standing. And so you actually get better oxygenation of your whole body by taking in longer breaths. And that breathing pattern is a way for you to influence your nervous system. If you're nervous and you force yourself to do 5 breaths a minute, you're overriding your default response and saying, wait, I got that you're nervous for some reason. I don't want to be nervous. Okay, Now, I'm getting some nice heat on my chest, so I haven't got a full release, but I've got a really good start. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and do an adjustment for my feet. My feet get really tight from shaking, and I've noticed that I start to get cramping in my middle 3 toes. The middle 3 toes are connected to what's called the superficial back line. Now, just a model, but it works for me. Superficial back line goes along the foot, up the back of the legs, up, and then all the way up to the forehead. So I'm going to go ahead and sit on the ground. I'm going to turn my toes under. This is called dorsiflexion. And then I'm going to make sure I've got those middle 3 toes engaged, and then I'm going to sit back. Now, if you can't sit on your heels, that's fine. That's what props are for. That's fine. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure on. Got a good friend, Dave. He simply sits on the bed and turns his toes under. His feet are so tight that just turning his toes under is minor torture for him. So I'm just going to do this, not for very long. If you want to do deep flexibility or long hold flexibility, the general recommendation is 2 to 5 minutes. Now for poses like side splits and front splits, I'll do longer, but 2 to 5 minutes is generally enough to have long-term change. That is, if you do 2 minutes, say once a week on your feet, over months, your feet are going to be more flexible. If you do it more than every 3 days, you might need some time after doing a deep stretch to let the collagen reform and restructure. 3 days is 72 hours is normally enough. I'm not going to do this long enough for that, but already I can feel the balls, the front 2 balls of my feet are going to slowly pull apart. My knees are going to slowly slide forward. My shins are going to start to be stretched. And so after, I don't know, however long, I'll just give this a rest. This is not the stretching that I want to do, but this is the stretching I'm doing to counteract the effect of shaking on tightening my feet. Hello, kitty. Now this kitty likes to bump into me while I'm stretching. For the poses I'm doing tonight, that is absolutely fine. There are certain poses where I'm balancing and I cannot have him do that, but tonight it's not going to be an issue. But I also use him as barometric pressure for my own. If I start getting pissed at the cat, it's me, it's not the cat. The cat's just doing what the cat does. So Chess just does what Chess does. He just wants me to pet on him. Sometimes I can, like right now. This has nothing to do with my feet, and I'm balancing, no problem. But again, if I were doing, say, front splits, I would let him anywhere near me. And part of that is, it takes concentration to do certain poses, and I don't have the effort. I don't want to waste my concentration effort trying to make sure he's not going to bump into me. And normally I can just sort of do something like this with him, and he'll stay away for several minutes. So, but he's honestly, I mean, he's a sweetheart, but he's sort of dumb as a brick as well. he just doesn't. He cannot take a message for more than a few minutes. He's got a little bit of. He takes ADHD from me basically. Okay, that's enough on the toes. Now, I'm going to lean forward. Whew, yeah, those toes are nicely turned under. Yikes. I'm going to just simply release them. And then rather than straightening my toes, I'm going to use physics. I'm going to put my foot down like so, and I'm just going to slide my feet gently to let the pressure of the floor straighten my toes. I don't want to use those muscles right away. I can, but this is just a lot more gentle. And again, I'm slow and steady wins the race. I'm in it for the long haul. I don't want to do something quickly and regret it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch my hips. This next pose is called Blaster. It is a go-to pose. If you only do one hip stretch, this is the stretch to do. And the nice thing is, if you do this for a while, for months, it leads into the front splits. Not that anyone needs to do the front splits, but this is just a deep lunge. Now to do this, I'm going to get into a tabletop pose. I'm going to do it right here. And I'm going to do this twice. And before I do that, I want a timer. I don't know where my timers are. Okay, I'll just use the device then. So I'm going to put one leg forward. I'm going to leave one leg back. The leg that's forward, I'm going to be stretching hamstrings and also my groin. For the back leg, it's going to be a little bit of the groin and mostly the hip flexors. I'm going to do it twice, so I'll get both sides. Okay, you, sir, over here. Okay, so I'm going to start in the tabletop, and let's go with the right foot forward. Doesn't matter, but just do both sides. I'm going to do this one for 5 minutes. I'm going back. I'm doing the basic sequence that I started with 5 years ago. I'm going to slide my back foot. You might want to put a pillow under your knee. I'm on a carpeted floor. It's not, I don't need to, but you might need to. Notice, foot turned out, leg leaning out, that's cool. This maybe looks like yoga. We're using yoga poses, but our intention is different. Alexa, 5-minute timer.
5-minute timer.
When I started doing this pose, I could not hold this pose for 5 minutes. So what I did was I used a big old stack of sheets, actually, or comforters, actually. But you might use a pillow. For example, I might do this because now I've extended my torso, which has the weight now over my groin more, and so I'm getting a much bigger stretch through here. The stretch is in your groin, your hamstrings, your hip flexors. It is not in your chest. So use whatever props you need to so that you don't have to balance. Because if you have to think about what you're doing and worry about your balance, you're not doing the pose. You're worrying about your balance. And the longer you do these poses, the more you realize you don't want to have to be thinking about them. You just want to do them. Now over time, I'm going to keep sliding my back leg back. But I'm just going to basically rest here into this. And this is the pose. That's it. Let's talk about the principles of what I'm doing. There are 3 primary and a couple other ones. The first one is pass attention over time. That's a good one anyway. That's normally the third one. Wet noodle. Any muscle that I want to stretch, I want to try to have it relaxed. So notice, I'm not doing anything. Chesh, no, get away, not now. See, he'll be here again. I don't want him bumping into me. So I want to have the leg as much as possible passive. So this is supported because the foot's and the leg's at a 90-degree angle. So I'm not doing anything here. This is passive. I'm using a locked out arm here so I don't get tired. But again, I could use any number of props if I needed to. I could support my chest. As long as I'm feeling a stretch in my groin, I've got wet noodle going on. Pass attention over time, 2 to 5 minutes. Already mentioned that. You can certainly go longer. Law of diminishing return for most poses. This is a good one to do for like 5 minutes. You can certainly go longer, but honestly, if I'm going to go longer on this, I'm probably going to do it longer because I'm doing the front splits. I'm bringing my arm forward, and by doing this, I'm changing the balance so that I've got my right side dropping a little bit more, and now I'm feeling it more in my hamstring. You can also add humming to these poses, and it's really a good way to increase the proprioceptive signaling of your body. In fact, I'm going to go and do that for just a little bit. Come a little bit lower. actually raise my left side just a touch. Now right there, that's much better. I'm hitting my left hip flexor. Okay. I'm getting a cramp in the arch of my foot. The arch of my foot, where it's hitting, is the spiral line. The spiral line starts at the forehead, twists around the body, crosses just below the lower belly button, continues down both sides of the leg. And so I've just done, if you notice, I've turned my toes under to help relieve that a little bit. And that's partly related to the shaking I was doing before. This is one of the downsides. Shaking does give me some foot cramp issues on certain poses, and that's fine. Alexa, stop. That's 5 minutes already. Wow, that was a quick 5 minutes. Okay, to come out of this, I'm not going to use my legs. I'm going to push my body back. Once my legs get into sort of a neutral position, everything's fine. But if you've been stretching a muscle, try to not use it when you come out. Now notice I'm using it here, but that's fine because I've already sort of come out of the pose. Now I'm going to simply come back a little bit, give myself a second. All right, shush, stay away. Go away, go. I don't want you right now bumping into me, buddy. I'm sorry. Yes, you think I'm done, but I'm not done. You're cute, but you're a pain. Yeah, lick yourself, that's good. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, left side. So, again, tabletop. I'm gonna swing my left foot up by my left hand. Now because I've been working on my hamstring, I'm tight in my hamstring. I could do just a little bit of shaking between poses. I'm not gonna do that, but it is not a bad idea to do a bit of a reset between poses if you have time. Oh, right there, see, I just had some cramping in my toes because of my superficial back line. Okay, that's good right there. Alexa, 5-minute timer.
5-minute timer started.
Now let's say you're especially tight on one side. Add a minute to that side. You want to do both sides. Don't skip one side thinking I'm going to stretch the tight side because it's really hard to get into balance through a completely unbalanced approach. But it's certainly reasonable to say to do one side 4 minutes, the other side 5 minutes, or 5 and 6 minutes. You can even do more than that if you'd like. On this stretch, I'm noticing also sort of back here, which is my abductors, abductors. This is a good general stretch, and I haven't been doing it recently. I've been doing other stuff, and so I'm going to go back to the basics for a couple of weeks, just to sort of get my whole body kind of reattuned. You don't lose flexibility very quickly. But since I sit all day, even though I'm riding a bicycle seat, I do sort of do things that are going to slowly over time tighten up my hips. And so I want to keep working on them. This isn't something you fix. This is a maintenance, an ongoing maintenance. It's like changing the oil in your car, except you have to do it all the time. So I'm going to do some humming now. I'm getting a little bit, there's this signaling called, there's proprioceptive, interoception, but there's also nociception. Nociception is signaling that you're about to do damage, it's pain. I'm not getting that, but I'm getting some discomfort, and it's a little bit more than I care to have. It's not much, but I'd rather be only stretching and not pushing things because I'm going to be doing this sequence for 2-3 weeks, so I'm in no rush. Also, sometimes if you start to notice a little bit more discomfort than you want to deal with, come back an inch. No, sorry, way too far. Come back a millimeter. Come back just a touch, like 1%. So if you start to get some kind of really strong signal, come back a touch, like right there. I just made an adjustment just to demonstrate, and then hold it for a while, and then go deeper. So slowly over time, what you do is you find your edge, come back a touch, wait, maybe hum, and then go a little bit deeper, maybe 10, 20 seconds later, and slowly over time, you're sort of undulating slower and slower, slowly into lower and lower poses. And humming is really good for loosening your collagen. Your collagen is piezoelectric. That is, it actually conducts electricity, but it's also non-Newtonian. And so if you loosen it up, it realigns. And if you loosen it up and realign it while you're humming, it actually increases the efficiency in signaling. And misaligned collagen is one of the biggest effects of long-term aging. So anything you can do to restore your collagen's hydration and alignment is long-term going to be really helpful. Also, it helps with inflammation. If you've got really tight collagen, Alexa, stop. It can encourage things like certain forms of cancer. Humming is not going to stop you from getting cancer, but it's going to increase your odds of being able to, will reduce your odds of maybe having it form in the first place and get anywhere by rehydrating your collagen. Okay, so I've done both sides, feeling pretty good. The last one, this is one you can actually do in bed. If you lay down, you can do what I'm going to do in a seated position, but I'm going to go ahead and do this in the seated position. I'm going to elevate my bum a little bit. Not necessary, but I'm going to allow gravity to help me. Now I'm going to have my feet together. This is called butterfly, but I'm going to have them pretty far apart. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 fists. 5 fists would be fine. 3.5 to 4.5, 5. Okay, seriously, stop. Okay, just stop, buddy. And now I'm going to lean forward, and again, I'm going to do this one for 5 minutes. Okay, goodbye. No, seriously, stop it. Thank you. Just lay there. I will pet you in a bit, buddy. Okay, and here we go. Alexa, 5-minute timer.
5-minute timer started.
A couple weeks ago, I did something a little bit wrong in, I want to say it was side splits. No, it was basically a version of side splits. And I'm fine, but it takes a while for the body to recover. And it's my left side. So I'm just going to be gentle. So I talked about the three principles: wet noodle, passive tension over time, and I didn't say this one yet, breathe to relax. But the humming does accomplish that, because when you hum, you extend your exhale. Oh, I'm getting some really good cramping right here, and that's going to be because of the spiral line. So, ooh, man, that's really cramping up. Okay. Alexa, pause timer. Okay, so I'm going to actually do a quick trigger point on this. And really, this is a version of PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. I'm overwhelming the signaling to get it loose. But, ooh, right there. Man, that's really, really tight. But this is, the spiral line comes in here and attaches diagonally. And so that's my spiral line. And the spiral line is what supports Twitter. Oh, there it goes. It's starting to release already. This really isn't any different from stretching. In fact, it's using the same principles. So when I'm stretching passively, I'm letting gravity do most of the work, and then slowly over time, the sarcomeres relax, everything, the signaling turns down, and right there, that's already a lot better, but I'm going to go a little, right a little bit higher there. How does that feel? So now I'm just moving very slowly to see if it's released. This is one of the downsides of shaking. Shaking, you know, every solution introduces new problems. So shaking loosens almost all the body, but my feet end up taking the wrath of stability. And so I could have spent a little more time stretching than before starting this pose. Now I didn't expect it to happen here, but that's fine, you know. Let's see how that is. Okay, I think I got it. We'll find out. Now my biggest thing is I'm feeling it on my left side here. So even though my right side is fine, my left side is limiting it, so I'm going to stay here and hold it on the left side. Alexa, resume timer.
Timer's back on.
Okay, now let's say you're worried about your lower back, because it's fine to arch your back, but you could overstretch it. So look forward, not down, and that will tend to straighten your back. And it won't straighten it much, but it will do enough that you'll notice a difference. So I'm getting a nice stretch in my lower back right now. But if I do this, I mean, I'm fine doing it, but if I do it long enough, it could do a little bit much. So I can also bring my hands out. Another thing is you can do what's called blockhead. Do I have a block? Where are my blocks? I don't like coming out of poses, but I'm gonna use a block. Now, if I can't go far enough down, this right here, putting a little bit of pressure on your forehead is a nice little trick to relieve tension in your lower back. I shouldn't be coming in and out of poses, but that's fine. There, so here we go. I'm gonna do this. Okay, I do want to go a little bit lower though. So I'm gonna do this. You don't want to pull, you don't want to force it. Let gravity do the work. That's why I've got the pillow under my bum, so I can lean forward a little bit easier and have gravity do the work. I can put my arms over here for pressure, a little bit of pressure, but no, so I'm not pushing, I'm just adding a little bit of weight. But right now, I don't need to do that because I'm feeling enough in my left hip back, so posterior, that I'm just going to let this ride for a bit.
When I do that, I'm feeling vibration all the way down to just above my left knee. Alexa, stop. Now, since I came in and out of this pose a bit, I'm going to stay here a little bit longer. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Now, I'm going to push with my hands. I'm not using the part of my body that's been stretching to come out of the pose. Now, once I'm back up and down, it's fine. But just getting stuff back to sort of a neutral position. And even here, I could lift my legs or I could do this. And now that I'm in a neutral position, everything's fine. Now, you might be young and you don't have to do that. I'm old, I need to be careful of my muscles. I don't want to pull anything because I've pulled things. And already, I'm having cramping in my feet because of the shaking. And so I need to be careful. But I got rid of this one. These toes were bothering me as well, and actually these toes. So if you have tightness here, that's your spiral line. All right? I'm using my spiral line when I'm twisting side to side. All right? If it's here, under the toes, specifically, it's your back line, head, not headache, top of the head, down the neck, down the back, down the sides. And if it's more here, ball the foot, then it's probably the deep front line, which comes up here, up the middle, up to the throat. But in any case, while I've been doing bigger stretches like side and front splits, I haven't been doing the basics, and I'm noticing I've got a little bit of tightness in some of the basic poses. So a couple weeks of that, and I'll get it right back. But slow and steady. And I'll just say, notice, I can often, after doing this pose for a while, get my head all the way down to my ankles. That's not where I'm at. So you have to work from where you're at, not where you think you should be, right? And you need to, over time, if you did 2 minutes today, do 2 minutes and 5 seconds tomorrow, or maybe 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Go to what you did before, and then slowly over time extend it. And you'll find that for some of the bigger poses, 3 minutes is great. 5 minutes is transformative. 3 minutes is also transformative, but there's a big difference when you get to 5 minutes on some of these poses. Much more than 5 minutes, you'll notice you won't get quite as big of a difference, but you'll notice it. And let's see. So, still got a good full squat. Okay, well, that's enough for tonight. Good night.